Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah amma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, brothers and sisters. I have Shaykh Faisal Jasim with me right now. Alhamdulillah, he's taken out the time to answer some of the questions that you guys have put forth. So inshallah ta'ala, I'm going to go straight to the Shaykh. Shaykh, the first question is, some people are very confused. The way that the people try to portray Salafiyya and the da'wah of Imam Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab. They say that Salafi and the da'wah of Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab is the same as Daesh, ISIS and the Khawarij, Takfiri. Can you explain this, Shaykh?
Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen, wa salatu wa salamu ala Rasulillah, wa ala alihi wa sahbihi man ihtada bihudah. Actually, the enemy of Daesh is Wahhabi. The real enemy for Daesh are the Wahhabi or the Salafi. So Salafiyya or Wahhabism is the opposite of ISIS, the opposite directly, because they are the people who combat all of ISIS thinking or thoughts or creed or actions, and this is well known. Because Wahhabi or Salafism, it's not something new. It's the following the way of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ and his companions. So Salafiyya actually means the clear Islam, the correct Islam, as it was at the time of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ and his companions. This is the meaning of Salafiyya. And Wahhabism, it's not something different between other than Salafism. It's the same thing. But this name came from the Sufism, from Shi'at, from other groups who oppose Imam Muhammad ibn Wahhab rahmatullahi alayhi because of their innovations. He came with the Tawheed. He came with the correct aqidah, correct creed. He wants to tell the people about the innovations that they were upon. So they rejected his da'wah, and they said that this is Wahhabism. He came with a new religion, which is not correct. Go to his books. He has many books. He has about 11 volumes with all of type of knowledge. Go through them and see, did he come with something new or not? He didn't come with anything new. All what he said are the scholars said this before. So he always claimed that he is following the Imam Ahmad rahmatullahi madhab in aqidah and in madhab. So if you're talking about Salafiyya and ISIS, that means you're talking about something which is totally different, because Salafiyya or Salafism and Wahhabism, they are following the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, and they are the people who save the community from these ideas, from these actions of Khawarij, what's so called. And Khawarij are different types, different names from the past up to now. Now you have ISIS, you have Al-Qaeda, you have Boko Haram, you have many type of groups. All of them are in one category, which is called in Islamic terminology Al-Khawarij. These people go to the general people, to the rulers, to the armies, and they state that they are kuffar, they are non-Muslims, and they fight them and they try to kill them, to try to destroy the whole community. So Salafism or Wahhabism, as what they called in the media, are the opposite, directly the opposite, 180 degrees opposite from ISIS. Anybody who claims that ISIS are Wahhabism, this is the same thing if he claims that ISIS is Islam. If somebody come and say to you, okay, ISIS is Islam, and these people are Muslims and they are following Islam. Why did he say this? He said because they claim that they are Muslims and they are Mujahideen. Your answer is what? They claim this, but Islam is rejecting their ideas. They are against Islam. This is the same thing. They claim that they are following Salafism, but Salafism is against them. So the same thing, if you don't accept that Islam or they are representing Islam, don't accept that they are representing Wahhabism. The same thing. Because if you go to the creed or ideas or ideology of the Wahhabism, as what they called, or Salafism, it totally contradicts these people. So you cannot claim this except if somebody is ignorant or somebody may make to do this or saying this intentionally just to reject Wahhabism because this is the real Islam. This is my, I hope I answered the question.
Sheikh, just on this point, if I can ask, because I think this is an area where some people get confused. Sometimes, people who support Daesh and ISIS and these takfiris, sometimes they quote Imam Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab, for example, Nawaqid al-Islam. Sometimes they'll quote Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah. I think this is why some people are getting confused. So could you expand on this? Why do they quote our ulama?
Don't they quote verses of Quran? Yeah. Don't they quote hadith of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? No. Do you say that, can you say that, okay, the problem is from Quran? From Sunnah? Don't they quote Imam Ahmad?
Yeah, they do.
Don't they quote Imam Shafi'i?
Yes, wallah.
Don't they quote Ibn Taymiyyah?
No.
Don't they quote the Sahaba?
No.
Why don't you say, or why don't these people say, okay, their way is the way of Sahaba, the way of Hadith?
No.
Can anybody do? Why? His answer is because what they claim is different than what Quran and Sunnah teach. This is the same thing. What they claim is different than Wahhabism teach. So when they come and say Imam Muhammad Wahhab said this is the same thing when they come to say Muhammad said this. The same thing when they say Imam Ahmad said this, Imam Shafi'i said this. The same thing. It's not. They're not saying, okay, we are only taking from Muhammad Wahhab. We are talking from Quran, and they claim that they are following the Quran and Sunnah, and they claim that we are upon the correct Islam, and this is the Islam of Sahaba. They claim this. Okay, why don't we quote this, or why don't we blame Islam or blame Sahaba because of their quotation, and we don't blame, and we blame Wahhabism. So this is only a claim. How do you know this? Just see who are combating or fighting these people, fighting in the ideology. Go to the bookstores. How many books were published to warn the people from this group like ISIS? All of them are Salafis. You don't see Ikhwan, you don't see other groups of Islam, you don't see Sufism are only writing, okay, they are bad people, but they don't bring evidence. The only people who fight them with evidences and bringing evidences to convince the people they are not upon the correct Islam are Salafism or what they called Wahhabism. If you go to the bookstore, you cannot find any book who refute them except book are related to what they called Wahhabism or Salafism. How can we come and say, okay, they are one? And another one. Now ISIS, now Wahhabism, the big country who are upon Wahhabism, Saudi Arabia. Is that true?
That's what they say, yeah.
How come they are fighting Saudi Arabia and they're saying they're kuffar? Their rulers are kuffar. Their army are kuffar. Their scholars, ulama are kuffar. Their du'at are kuffar. And they're bombing and they're trying to killing. How come they are following their ideas and they're fighting the top level of the people of that time?
It's true.
This is very clear that they are against Wahhabism and they're not following Wahhabism. The same thing, they're against Islam, they're not following Islam. The same thing, exactly.
Right, Shaykh, that's a very good point because even, I remember 2 Ramadans ago, the first Jum'ah of Ramadan, the first place that ISIS tried to attack was Saudi Arabia. They went to the border and to show you that their enmity is towards against the Salafis and no one else. Subhanallah. Jazakallah khair for clarifying that. And also the Shaykh, he's mentioning the term Wahhabism, not because that's a term that we use ourselves, but as the Shaykh mentioned, this is a term that they use against the people who follow the Salaf, i.e. the Prophet ﷺ's methodology according to the Sahaba.